Hi guys, so this is the commercialization section on the contemporary issues unit within the social and cultural paper. As always, we're trying to maximise marks in our A-level P exams. I've taken the most up-to-date information on this particular information. I have tried to condense it as much as possible. As always, subscribe to the channel for all the latest videos coming out and pop any comments below. So we first need to understand this word commercialization. And I've put here, we're essentially using sport to make a profit. Now we have the golden triangle, which is the relationship between sport, media and sponsorship, which I've done a whole nother video on because we see way more questions on this nowadays. Got to think about this in a second in terms of sports, performers, spectators and society. And this is where the questions are really going to look for those 3, 4, 5 markers in particular knowledge to those questions. So we're looking to make a profit more recently, and this is not the entire list, but between ticket sales, sponsorship deals, selling media rights, pay-per-view, that's going a lot with the mixed martial arts and the boxing these days, with the UFC fighting. We're getting a lot of that, aren't we, with the pay-per-view, probably on a Saturday, Friday night. A lot of advertising, and what we saw with the golden triangle is it's cheap advertising, and then also merchandise that could be bought. So we've got to look through next a question that has previously come up with maybe 4, 5 marks, and these are the factors affecting commercialization. So I've put here just a quick mark scheme, okay, and probably at the end come back and make a flashcard for this specifically. So why is sport become more available to make money from? Well, number one, there's more public interest in sport, and it's growing all the time. Sport is now global with international exposure, attracting sponsors. I'm thinking of the IPL, the Indian Cricket League, or the Indian Premier League, should I say, within India. We are thinking of the amount of football going on that is global, so the Champions League, the Europa, the Nations Cup. I think about netball that is being broadcast from Australia and New Zealand, and there's just a couple of examples for you. We have got professional sport, with many more sports now becoming professional, meaning that athletes are getting paid, better sports players attracting greater levels of sponsorship. Increased media coverage attracts more sponsors. Increased merchandise, clothing associated with sport, and media coverage and sponsorship of sport is cheap compared to commercial opportunities. Okay, so now we have to understand these 4 sections as mentioned previously, and questions. To be honest with you, this is where really candidates get separated out, because I've tried to condense this information as much as possible, but I still had to leave so much in because there's so much scope here to be tested on these 4 elements. So you're really going to have to knuckle down and remember these. I can't do any more for you other than you just creating and remembering the flashcards for these 4 different subsections. We got 3 S's and a P, maybe that's the best way to remember it. So first of all, we're looking at the impact of commercialization on the sport itself. Okay, so the advantages are in green and the negatives or the disadvantages are obviously in red. So what are the good things? The good things is that between the sport, so again, we're looking at tennis, football, rugby, cricket, hockey, whatever it is, swimming, global audiences increased the amount of people watching, so figure viewings. That means then more people are going to be interested, and increased income comes from media companies. Because there's more people watching, there's increased capacity to sell sponsorship opportunities, greater international interest, and ultimately all that money coming in means that they can probably put more funding and incentives into grassroots, and that's going to increase the participation and that general interest in a variety of sports. Okay, what are the reductions? Well, sport is becoming a secondary factor after the commercial opportunities. I think specifically of the halftime show at the Super Bowl, and sometimes you almost get as much advertising and celebration of that entertainment, who the artist is, how long it took, over what actually is taking place in terms of the American football, which is quite sad, isn't it, really? We're going to change in kickoff times due to suit audiences. We said this in the Golden Triangle video. Football now being kicking off at 12:30, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 p.m, Monday night football, Tuesday night football, midweek games. The same type thing as in the Olympics. Often the relay events, which are some of the most broadcast and viewed events, sometimes they're not going off the athletes till 10 p.m. So the whole of the schedule is affected by the audience and playing to the masses of the audience, which isn't really fair on the sport itself, is it? We've seen rule changes coming in to suit the TV audience. We have seen netball bringing like their fast five and bringing the more score of baskets available depending on how far out they are. And again, like that just whole change is to suit the audience again. Excuse me. Which then goes with a loss of tradition, and people will be really sad that their sport that has always existed in a particular way is being changed. Funding is only available to high profile sports, therefore we're going to use the word that it's exclusive. A lack of interest in minority and Paralympic sports. Scandals, particularly if there's deviance or there's an association with drug taking or match fixing, is going to be highlighted from that sport. And also commercialization, even though I don't think it means to, can reinforce stereotypes, which is not helpful, again, for the sports. Next up, we're moving to the performer. So this time we're looking at the individuals within the sport who are performing. You try and think of your most famous sports performers within your sport and correlate these points to them. So they're going to get, because of commercialization, because of selling sport, increased revenue and income. Try to use those terms rather than just increase money, because we're going to see those more so on mark schemes. Sports then become a potential career and they can train full time because of that increased revenue and income. Increased prize money, race profile, and we see race profile a lot of mark schemes, guys. Definitely get that point down and highlight it. They then get to become a role model and have increased sponsorship opportunities because then of all those factors. Where are the drawbacks? Again, only the popular sports are receiving those benefits. Your footballs, your rugbies, your well-known events, your tennis players, your golfers, okay? Media pressure. So if there's a particular media day where all maybe the athletes are get together and putting on their new kit, and let's say it was your 18th birthday, well, unlucky, okay? That's the media day. That's almost the pressure that you are on to be at a particular place at a particular time. If then we think a bit more day to day, almost after every competition, whether they have performed well or badly, I think of the tennis or I think of the golf, there's a camera shoved in their face and they're expected to talk. We've got pressure from sponsors. Sponsor will require, again, tennis players to compete in certain competitions, whether the athlete does or does not want to compete in them, because they need that almost branding and that commercialization from the sponsors, and it's required from them. Any behaviour is highlighted in the news and in the media. Now that might be good, but of course we put it on the red section because ultimately if there are love interests or again there's deviant behaviour relating to the next points, let's link this, sponsorship can always be removed. So again, if there's particular violence within the sport, but more so associated with that drug taking or particular illegal substances. Moving on, we're looking at the spectator. So this is our third element that we could be tested upon. At this point, remember that we've seen commercialization as a common 10 marker answer. So we need to be able to cover all these sections also in one go if need be, and to generalize these points. So for the spectator, they've got increased availability of sports because of that increase of commercialization, more media opportunities is being covered everywhere. access to more international versions of their favourite sports. Increased revenue means that they can put that money back into the stadium or the seating opportunities or the viewership of people going, and that's going to help the spectator. Full-time athletes increases the standard, means that we've got a better candidate or caliber of athlete, and that means that the sport's going to be more exciting to the spectator. We've got more versions of sports emerging. Again, I referenced this in the Golden Triangle video, but we're looking at 3v3s in basketball. We're looking at the T20s and the 100 in cricket. We are looking at the fast 5 in netball. We're looking at rugby sevens. Lots of different things that are now almost like a newer version of the sport that they originally were. And then, as mentioned before, we've got the in-between match entertainment, which some spectators are going to find interesting. The drawbacks, sport maybe is losing those traditional values. Get used to that, using that word traditional, again, common on mark schemes. The changing of format can disrupt experiences. Someone's ultimately got to pay for this, and that's going to go, again, to the spectator of raising ticket prices. Negative behaviour, again, specifically for spectators, I'd be encouraging to use the word hooliganism, have created a negative impact. Again, that reflects badly on the spectator. So numerous points to note down there. And finally, we're looking at society. Society is another popular one to be questioned on. We know that we get asked about society when we're looking at the implications of violence or the implications of drugs in sport. So again, become familiar with this term. So the advantages, social mobility. If you don't know what this is, make sure you go and look at it. It's the ability for someone to change their social class through the means of sport. So to go from almost a low socioeconomic status to a high socioeconomic status through the means of sport. Very common within the football world. Increased media coverage offers all sports to a wide range of classes. So somebody from a lower class could be absolutely more than within their right to go on ITV or Sky Sports and watch the horse racing that maybe we would associate with a higher socioeconomic class. That then provides aspiration for people. Lower class people have more role models and there's more inspiration to young people. However, sport can still reinforce stereotypes. I was literally watching the tennis the other day, and when one of the females won, the first thing that they said was that she was a mum of 2 and what a great job that she'd done. I'm not sure if that's the first thing we needed to know, and I don't think that helped in terms of that female just being an independent athlete winning because she was strong, she was powerful, because she was better than the opponent. Class, gender, age barriers are therefore not being broken down as much as they could be. Media coverage is not fair. That's now a recurrent thing coming up. The richest get all the opportunities. Sponsorship interest at the highest level of sport, again, not the minorities. And we've seen a little bit on this in more recent time, whereby we have a high proportion of people within the Olympics and Olympic medalists coming from high socioeconomic groups, and moreover from that, coming from private school educated backgrounds. Okay, so those are the main 4 points. Again, a lot of information there, but I can't help you any more than condensing it where I have done. The do now task, as always, go and create those flashcards with that key information. Go and find those past paper questions, whether it's a 3 marker or a 4 marker. Go away and have a look at those 10 markers. Look out for the golden triangle and the media video, and as always, subscribe because there's going to be